The solution came not from science, not from kings, but from birds. When the first ships carried guano from Peru to Europe, the results were astonishing. In the 19th century, the world stumbled upon a fortune that seemed almost unreal. It was not gold, not silver, not oil. It was guano, bird droppings. For centuries, millions of seabirds had gathered on the tiny islands off the coast of Peru. Generation after generation, they nested, they fed, and they left behind their waste. In time, this waste piled up into mountains, hard, white, and rich in nutrients. What looked like filth turned out to be treasure. Guano was packed with nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium, three ingredients that farmers desperately needed. Europe in the early 1800s was hungry. Its soil had been farmed for centuries and was weak. Its population was growing rapidly, demanding more food than ever before. The solution came not from science, not from kings, but from birds. When the first ships carried guano from Peru to Europe, the results were astonishing. Fields that once produced thin yellow crops suddenly flourished with tall, green, healthy plants. Wheat, corn, and vegetables grew faster and stronger. For farmers, it was a miracle. Newspapers called guano the manna of the fields. Merchants called it white gold. Soon, demand exploded. By the 1840s, fleets of ships left Britain, France, and the United States, all bound for the Guano Islands. Peru, once struggling, suddenly controlled the most valuable resource on Earth. Exports filled its treasury. Guano money paid off debts, funded armies, built railroads, and raised grand mansions in Lima. For a brief moment, Peru was one of the richest nations in the world. But wealth rarely comes without cost. The guano did not dig itself. Thousands of laborers were brought to the islands to harvest it. Some were local Peruvians, others were African slaves. But the largest number came from across the ocean. Chinese workers brought under contract. These contracts promised wages and food. In reality, they were little more than slavery. On the Chincha Islands, the conditions were brutal. The workers lived in crowded huts, choking on the dust of dried guano. They hacked at the rock-hard piles under the blazing sun, filling bags day after day. The sharp smell burned their throats and lungs. Their backs ached, their hands bled. Many died before ever returning home. Europe's fields were blooming, but the men who made it possible paid in sweat, suffering, and silence. Meanwhile, the fever for guano spread far beyond Peru. In 1856, the United States passed the Guano Islands Act. It was a strange law. It allowed any American citizen to claim an island anywhere in the world if it was covered in guano, and claim them they did. Dozens of tiny dots across the Pacific and Caribbean suddenly became US possessions, not because they were homes to people, but because they were homes to bird droppings. Even old empires joined the race. In 1864, Spain, once the ruler of Peru, returned to seize the Chincha Islands. It hoped Guano would revive its fading power. But this invasion sparked a war. Peru, with the help of Chile, fought back in the Chincha Islands War. Navies clashed, cannons roared, ships were sunk, all of it, over piles of guano. For a time, the trade seemed unstoppable. Guano was shipped to every continent. It transformed agriculture in Europe, America, and even Asia. It shaped diets, cities, and empires. This strange, smelly treasure fed millions of people. But like every boom, it had limits. By the late 1800s, the mountains of Guano were nearly gone. The islands, once buried under thick layers, were stripped bare. Peru's great fortune began to crumble. Its treasury ran dry. Grand projects stopped, and the country fell into debt and instability. Meanwhile, scientists in Germany found a new answer. Through chemistry, they discovered synthetic fertilizers. Factories could now produce nitrogen on demand. The miracle of guano was no longer unique. The age of bird droppings was over. What remained were scars on the land, on the people who worked it, and on the nations that fought for it. The guano boom had lifted Peru to greatness and then dragged it into crisis. It had fed empires, but also destroyed lives. It had shown how quickly the world could turn waste into gold, and how quickly gold could turn into nothing. Today, the Guano Islands still exist. Some still hold colonies of seabirds. But the mountains of white gold are gone. Only fragments remain. A reminder of the time when bird droppings changed the course of history. The story of the guano boom teaches us something important. Wealth can come from the most unexpected places, but no fortune lasts forever. Greed, war, and exploitation can make riches vanish as quickly as they appear. This is Wealth Untold, where the hidden treasures of history and the strange economies of the past come alive. If you liked our story, then like and share the video. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel.